And Cloud9 Challengers close it out in a pretty tight game number 1. Shoutouts to Team Liquid Challenger for putting up that big of a fight, because coming into this one, we weren't sure how close these two teams would stack up. And Josh, I know that the concern was Cloud9 Challengers might just blow everybody out of the water, but we definitely did not get a blowout in this game 1.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly surprised that based on the fact that Team Liquid made that early blunder where they tried to attack Zeyzal and ran out of steam, I was surprised that that kind of wasn't the end of the game.
Right?
Cloud9 is the kind of team where if you give them a lead, it's very hard to come back. But Team Liquid kept fighting, and it ended up being a situation where I feel like Cloud9, with a single good teleport from Diplex, more outplayed Team Liquid than Team Liquid necessarily made a huge, obvious mistake.
Well, this is where I say, granted, you know, sure, that first play didn't end the game, but it was one of the reasons why the game ended that way, because it got 2 kills early for Diplex. That gave him that power where he felt like, hey, as long as I can get into this backline, granted, Akali's going to do that regardless, but even more so, if I can get into this backline, they're not going to be able to stop me.
Yeah, it was a pretty explosive game number 1. But to break it down a little bit more, I want to highlight some of the players from that last game. So for this halftime show, we're playing a new game, player profiles. Oh, yes, Josh?
What kind of halftime show?
What kind of halftime show?
Yeah. Is it a certain brand? That's right.
Rally Cry halftime show.
There you go.
You know it. You know it. Maybe we'll have a third-time show later on, depending on how Team Liquid clap back in the series. But I want to take the opportunity to talk about the players outside of just the game itself. We're giving them time to get ready, reset for game number 2. So while we're doing that, we're going to play this game here on the broadcast. I have created different player profiles using Edgy Hoon's really snappy site. Go check out Edgy Hoon, Andrea's Twitter profile, if you want to check that out. So shout-outs to Edgy Hoon. Thank you. For a lot of this info on some of the players, we're going to go through and kind of see if the two of you can guess. So I'm going to slowly populate info on these players. As soon as either of you think you know what the player is, give me an audible buzz, okay? Let's practice together.
You gotta say Buzz. This is how I beat Gabby.
Yeah, shout
Buzz.
out. Gabby struggled with this. Buzz, Magical, can you do this for me? Buzz. All right, cool. So we're going to throw me up big here with the two of you next to me, and then we'll start this one off. Okay, so for number one, hint number 1. And production, if we could throw me up in the big box here so that way we can see everything. Yeah, there we go. All right. So
let's go, OBS.
Height.
Oh, geez.
6'1".
Okay. Are we limited to players in this series?
Yes, it is only players in this series.
Okay.
6'1".
All right. Okay, no one's got it yet. Birthplace, Germany.
Oh, Diplex.
Ah!
Buzz, Diplex.
Once he say Germany, he didn't buzz. Buzz.
I did buzz afterwards.
He did buzz after.
He buzzed after, but he didn't say it after. Buzz.
All right.
I did say it.
Easy one. This one was the easy one, just as a tutorial for all of you. Birthplace, Germany. Birthday, July 15th. Nickname Dima. His name is Dimitri, actually. Favorite musical artist is Metro Boomin, and of course it is Diplex. Congratulations, Josh. Good job. Good job. You got it.
Woo.
All right. That is 1 point to Josh.
I don't know anything about Metro Boomin.
I don't know who they are either. I wanted to listen to some of their music during the game, but then I didn't get a chance to. So I can't give an actual review. Maybe after the stream, if we get to talk to him or something, we'll ask him about Metro Boomin. Okay.
I didn't realize he was so tall.
Huh?
I didn't realize Diplex was that tall.
Yeah, when he would stand next to Cloud9 on LCS, it was kind of crazy. All right, boom. We have bid farewell to Diplex. Now, next up on the table, we have player number 2. So, height, 5'11".
Okay. The height.
Yeah, all of their
does this
heights.
not give you enough information yet?
No.
Birthplace, USA. Birth date, technically still a Zoomer.
Okay.
Favorite color is deep blue.
Huh. I actually don't know.
Yeah.
This is a big one.
Before being scouted by 100 Thieves.
Ooh.
Hold on. I'm thinking.
Ooh.
Oh, 100 Thieves. Buzz, fake god.
Buzz? We got a buzz?
Buzz,
We got a
fake
buzz? And we got a fake gun!
All
right.
That is
100
true.
Thieves. I'm like, wait, that's right. He was on the scouting grounds too, and that whole team got picked up by 100 Thieves Academy because it had him, Frogus. I think that had Sligo as well. It was like,
I'm not remembering the whole roster offhand, but the key
Right.
thing is he is a rare example of a player scouted through collegiate. We don't have too many of those.
it wasn't
in the
just
scene.
collegiate. It was collegiate and scouting grounds. It was the combination of both of them because that's when he finished first place in the scouting grounds on, I believe, Team Mountain. And the teams were so impressed by the entirety of that team who had only just gotten brought together for that event that whole team, it's the first and only instance of an entire team from scouting grounds getting picked up for an academy squad.
Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. All right, that's player number 2. Congratulations. Let's move on to player number 3. Now this one
How tall are they?
is gonna be a little tougher.
Height doesn't help out at all. Unless it's
feel
fudge, it
But
doesn't
it's a
help
fun
out.
one. It's a fun one. This player's also
Oh, they're
5'11".
also 5'11".
Also
okay,
5'11",
great.
you know?
Are they also from the United States?
They're also from the USA, but I added
Wow.
a little extra.
Oh,
They're from Ohio.
Buzz.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure
Oh.
that one's Bradley.
Oh.
Incorrect.
And Buzz,
All right.
Buzz.
Wait, no, look, you can wait for more. Look, here, how about I give you another one? Their birthday. This totally
Buzz.
helps you, right?
But I'm gonna
Okay.
go with the APA just because he said Bradley, so I'm like, I'm pretty sure the only other option is APA.
Well, his favorite pro is himself. And
All
he
right,
did,
yeah,
in fact,
it is
wrestle
APA.
for 14
When you
years.
say wrestling, that's APA. That's APA.
It was APA.
That's APA. Hey,
Yes,
look, where does that screenshot
congratulations.
come from?
Where does this photo come from? I wonder if this is from a certain podcast that some members of this broadcast are on. So, APA, I think that it's so cool when you have pros come in or semi-pros and they have come from other, athletic backgrounds. I love the fact that he wrestled for 14
too.
years. I actually have some
too.
footage of him in front of a green screen doing wrestling moves that I have not used for content yet. But at some point, APA, just know that's coming. All right, cool. That was the second to last one.
All right, so I got
Okay.
2 points.
One
I got
more.
2 points so far.
2 points to Magical. Josh, did you get a? Yeah, Josh got a point. Too,
I got
right?
the first one.
Yeah,
You got the first one.
So it's not going to be completely one-sided. So this one, big help here. Height, list question. And a reminder that all of these answers are from the player profiles on the website. So if you want to go check out and get this information, plus a lot more,
Okay.
shout out to the website. You can go find it on Edgy Hoon's Twitter account. Birthplace is Canada.
Buzz.
Buzz.
No, come on. Already?
Whose Buzz was
There's only
first?
one Canadian.
Whose
I
Buzz
don't
was
know. I think it was Magical that got it first.
Dang it.
Tomio.
Birthday. He's good at role-playing noises.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what
I
does
don't
that
know.
mean?
But this is the fun information you can find on the player profiles, and that's why I wanted to highlight some of this.
Okay.
And Emina started a hashtag about him, which the hashtag was, of course, hashtag Tomio is cute. So shout outs to that. Yep, there we go.
I mean, once you said birthplace Canada, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Tomio's the only player in
Yeah.
this series that's from
in,
Canada.
in hindsight, the birthplace was probably too easy of a hint for all these players.
Vibes alert. Vibes alert. He's got the wrong jersey on.
He does. Okay, you know what? That's a good point. Let's get that out of there.
Get
then.
out of here.
Get that out of there.
win!
We're safe.
All that info is, of course, from the website. So shout outs to Edgy Hoon. Thank you, Andrea, for putting together that site. It's such a cool way to highlight and showcase the players that we have. There's a lot of fun information on there. So that was just some of the sillier ones that I could
Where's-
find.
Okay, I do want
I
to.
know Bradley is also Midwest. Is he Minnesota?
He's
Is he in
not Minnesota. He played for Bethany, which is a Minnesota school, for a short stint. But he's not from there originally. I don't remember where he's from. Florida.
Wait.
It was Florida.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, because he was talking about the fast food that's like top tier that you can't find here.
Exactly. I forget the
Okay.
name of
What
it.
it was.
Look, let's bring it back to the conversation of the players, the teams that's going on, guys. Why am I the one who has to do this?
We were talking about Bradley.
But I want to talk about the series, and I want to talk about Tomio. Because
Yes.
Tomio, I feel like, actually did a really good job in this game, while Diplex was the one who got who benefited from a lot of the plays early on. If you think about it, it was Tomio's re-engage that got him the double kill early on that really set up Diplex for the later plays. And this was actually a really good game from Tomio in general.
Yeah, and going into the series, we weren't sure if he might be the weak link to exploit for Mir and TLC. Awesome that Tomio held his own in game number 1. Maybe he can do it twice in a row because we're ready for pick and ban. The players are set to go, so I'm going to pass it over to Magical and Joshi for game number 2.
All
Bye,
right.
Steve.
See you later, Steve. Thanks for getting us into the second game. As we get into the draft, I kind of want to continue this conversation about the teams and how this looks, because when you have a team that it was so close in that game 1 where it was all down to that one play that unfortunately spelled the doom for Team Liquid onto Challengers. That game ended literally instantaneously after that. It was so close up until that moment. And that's sometimes heartbreaking, and it can be a mentally challenging thing to bounce back into a second game. But I have a lot of faith with how this entire team has, especially with their coaching staff. Like, you look at Spawn and how much he brings to the team. A lot of players always sing their praises, even though they go, I'm a little afraid of him sometimes. He knows what he's doing, because oftentimes this team, if you look even last year, the fact that they were the 2-time champions, how they've bounced back in scenarios like this before, this is the time. This is the time to really rely on your coaching staff and say, all right, we've learned from the mistakes. We had it so close. All we have to do is fix this one moment.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple moments I think that Team Liquid do need to kind of pay attention to, right? One of the things that has oftentimes happened is while Kimdown has looked a lot better on things like this Thresh, especially mechanically, some of the things that happening is Kimdown is a player that came directly from UCI. He was playing in the collegiate team directly for this. Yeah. And so now seeing him come through, well, he's done quite well for a collegiate player. It has been one of the places where, especially on things like this Nautilus, he's been making a lot of decisions, and he either looks like a genius or he has some of his weakest games on this champion as well because of how committed this champion tends to be. And this is a situation now where the Nautilus coming through is going to be something that Cloud9 can really try and prey upon because it is not that tanky of a character. Cloud9, I feel as though shifting from the Thresh to this Nautilus is actually going to help Cloud9 quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I kind of like the Thresh play a little bit more out of Kimdown. Sure, he did die and get blown up in a couple of the later parts of the fight, but it did help. He still was able to help set up a lot for the team. And as
he also saved Arrow's bacon like 3 times.
Exactly. So switching over to this, to me, indicates that Team Liquid really wants to be aggressive, as well as they're expecting that Akali to be picked up again. So that way, when Akali shows up, just a simple depth charge on top of her. Actually, well, never mind. The whole point I was making out the window because they banned the Akali.
Yeah, just go ahead and ban it away. And so now we get to see what it is that APA and potentially Bradley or Amir want to be playing as their last character. I would be unsurprised if Bradley got this Sejuani yet again, but the Fiora ban comes through. Cloud9 are unconvinced. And now, I mean, it looks like a very similar style of composition, a very similar game to the first one.
Of the support.
Yeah, it's just a Nautilus that has changed, and Team Liquid, they did do a good job with some of their early rotations, but Mir keeping the options open as to whether or not they're going to be playing the Viego this time around, and Cloud9 do have to commit what it is that they actually want to play. Last time it was the Vi, but the Akali is also taken off the table, and so the other character that we've often seen Diplex play, it is going to be that Sylas. Similarly has some struggles early on in the laning phase, but will wake up really, really hard, and so we're seeing only a couple of small adaptations this game.
This is also Diplex's most played champion. It's Sylas. This is the champion he even got a pentakill on last year in the ERLs. This guy really likes to play the champion. We talked about his melees and how comfortable he feels on them, but Sylas is the #1. Yeah, this is the champion I think, let me look at the stats really quick because I have them actually here on the other screen. So I can tell you that in just a second. I believe this champion has more games by by almost 8 games to the next one, and that being Ari after that.
Yeah. I mean, Diplex has looked pretty good on this island so far throughout his time in North America. And again, as we look at it, there are only 2 changes in this entire draft. There's going to be Diplex on the Sylas instead of the Akali, and Kimdown on the Nautilus instead of the Thresh. This provides less safety for Arrow, but more engaged tools coming out for Team Liquid Challengers. And I don't feel as though that was really the biggest thing that was hurting them in the last game. Whereas I think for Cloud9, I mean, now they have the Sylas into the Nautilus, into the Syndra, there's a lot of really good ultimates coming through for Diplex to play around with. I actually feel like this draft favors Cloud9 more than the previous one.
Especially, like, not just the 2 that you mentioned, but that Glacial Prison that you can steal away from Sejuani. So now you have more non-committal engage that you can have, even if it's not as reliable as, say, the Nami, because you're only going to have that every so often. It's still another tool that they can utilize. It only depends, though, how well they do on the early parts of the game, especially around the mid-game, as we load up onto the Rift, because Team Liquid Challengers, if they can get ahead this time around, they had those moments. Had it not been for that one play that we saw the 2 kills go over to Diplex earlier, that was actually a very solid mid-game from Team Liquid Challengers.
Yeah, I mean, Team Liquid Challengers played the mid game quite well. They caught out Fake God a couple of times. They caught out Diplex in a couple of crucial moments and actually kept the Dragons reasonably close for a lot of it. But now as we start going into this, Alex, I kind of have to think back to 2017.
Oh, we're going way
the
back.
last time. Way back. Cloud9, Team Liquid. Does it make you think back at all to when Cloud9 was the best team across basically the entire league for multiple years running, where they were winning every single thing that was possible to win in the Academy infrastructure, and then it was Team Liquid, who had a brief stint of about 2 years where they were some of the top dogs, but Cloud9, I mean, even during that time, I think the worst they got was like 5th in Proving Grounds, right? It's not as though Cloud9 had disappeared from the top echelons. It's just that Team Liquid had skyrocketed ahead of them for a little while.
Yeah, it's only been like, well, I'd probably say the last 2 years where Cloud9 hasn't. It's sad to say they've had middling success when they're still at the top of tables, right? Because we're so used to them dominating Academy. And here is their time. New league, well, new name. New identity with the Challengers squad. And here they are, #1 to start it all off again.
Yeah, and you have to kind of look at some of the similarities between that roster and this one, even though basically all the players are completely new, but you still have this really strong shot calling support in Zeyzal when it was Diamond
they're
for a
all
long time
new
before.
except for Zeyzal. Zeyzal actually is a part of the early Academy teams as well.
Yeah, and then it was Diamond for a while at the same time, so now, Kim down. Standing outside the bush, unfortunately not able to walk up at that point. But we are, once again, seeing different paths, and now Mir going to be coming down.
Nice pull. They got the heal out of Zeyzal, so at least they get one summoner blown, and all they had to do is throw out one dredge line. It's a level 2 experience lead for the bot lane of Arrow Kim down, as opposed to the other way around that we're so used to. And now Mir feels very comfortable invading Tomio, just waiting for the reset on the red buff. And there it is. All he has to do is buy a lot of time to waste the time of Tomio, and he can just go right back in. He spots it out. He's got Smite available. Oh, just now it came up, but Tomio was able to get it.
Yeah, but Mir has to leave. He should know that Tomio has this red buff, but he misses. Tomio not choosing to take the fight either.
Look at bot lane, look at mid lane. Both of them are controlled by Team Liquid challengers. It's hard for Tomio to feel confident going for that skirmish, especially because it is Conqueror for Mir. It makes it that much more easy for Mir, despite not having that red buff, to duel against Tomio.
Yeah, I mean, Tomio at least gets a bunch of his chickens, but that is a fairly successful invade coming out from Mir, because you have to remember that a lot of the goal has been put back into the jungle camps. There's a lot more money to pick up there, and Mir, having taken away a good chunk of Tomio's jungle, is now still chilling on the bottom half of the map. But with Arrow backing away and we buying a call, almost definitely does mean that Team Liquid has traded a lot of this early priority that they've got in order to try and play a little bit harder for the mid to late game by allowing Arrow to farm up.
Giving him more chances, more gold that he can build up, especially getting the 2-3 item spike that you were talking about being the real points of power for Arrow. The sooner you can get to that moment, the better for the team, especially if you can get to a point where Tomio right now is struggling in the jungle. Look how red that bottom quadrant is. It was all owned by Mir and Kim down, so that now he's got really nothing to play against. Mir can easily get his own camps and look to fight around the Scuttle Crab top lane.
Yeah, and this is a really good usage of the minion dematerializer from Kim down as well. Getting this wave underneath the turret, Lost going to lose some of this wave. Luckily, the turret will go for the cannon first, so he won't lose too much, but it is...
A cannon you're losing, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's better than losing the rest of the wave. It's generally how it goes, right? But I'm also, again, really impressed that Team Liquid, they do come into this with a strong early plan. That has been something that they have had a lot of success with throughout the regular season. And while they haven't gotten any kills just quite yet, these small incremental advantages are still occurring. APA is still beating up Diplex in this laning phase.
And it is expected to be that way for quite some time. The Syndra matchup into Sylas. Even if Syndra's not the lane bully she used to be, it's the melee into range. Or anytime Sylas wants to step up, plus how telegraphed some of his dashes are towards APA, the Scatter of the Weak can deny any engage for Diplex.
Yeah, you have to be very careful as the Sylas every time you try and go for anything, but it is Cloud9 starting up the Dragon once again. Came down and walking over as the big old teacup, and Diplex is trying to find enough vision, but he might get pincered. APA 6.
Yeah, he is 6, level 5 for Diplex. 4 members on top of the Dragon. Game down, goes in, gets the pull onto Tomio, gets the flash as well. Scatter the weak onto 2 members. Fight secure for Tomio. He can flash over the wall if he needs to, but the flash comes in from Mir to make sure that he cannot escape. First blood for Team Liquid. Flashing away.
Arrow.
Lost is getting chased down. Arrow flashed over. So many summoners committed by both sides.
Diplex, the only member of Cloud9 to walk away from that fight with their flash intact. Team Liquid, they lose the dragon, but they get so much control out of it. They have all of their members still on the field. They can crash this wave in the bottom lane. They can take away some of the chickens here from Tomio, and that is a huge amount of gold coming out for Team Liquid for only getting a single kill.
Yeah, I mean, the gold is still important for Team Liquid to get that single kill because it took away any power that Cloud9 could have. It took Tomio off the map, which gave Mir even more opportunities to control his jungle.
Yeah. Now this fight starts off really interesting, right? Came down, goes in, flashes out, but Tomio also has to expend the flash, getting away from the Chomper so he doesn't die and can secure this dragon. But then Cloud9, they're just so split, whereas Team Liquid are a single unit. Tomio can't leave, and the only thing that I was a bit surprised about was Arrow flashing over the wall immediately afterwards, but they end up getting a flash off of Zeyzal because of it. So it's a bit of a trade coming through, and Team Liquid showing some of that decisiveness that they can get with the Nautilus.
It is nice to see that from Team Liquid, playing really aggressively early on. Kind of fight him in the butt that time around, even if they didn't get the dragon. They got a kill for Mir. And we talked about this before. Tomio did a good job in the last game, but he is something that could be attacked consistently by Team Liquid Challengers. And Mir on Viego feels very empowered to constantly look for these skirmishes against Tomio early.
Yeah, it looked as though Team Liquid might look to come down towards the bottom side. We also saw Syndra flex a little bit, looking like a Hanser over there. Did get the ammo on the Q, so suddenly you can double Q anybody every time you hit that scatter of the week. Team Liquid in a very good position from that spot. But also, as you were talking about before, Alex, look at all the vision control that Team Liquid have built up on the bottom side of the map. This creates very obvious ways for Team Liquid to rotate APA, rotate Mir down towards the bottom side, and potentially dive Lost and Zeyzal, which is a bit disastrous if that happens for Cloud9. That's been how they've lost several of their games when their bottom lane falls behind.
And it's uncharacteristic when it happens, but it does happen. Only a few times this season. How many losses did Cloud9 have this entire time? I think it was 7? 7 total losses?
Maybe.
Let me double check.
Either way, it's still Cloud9 being one of the clear favorites. Yeah, 7 game losses the entire time in the regular season. But we also have to point out that Bradley's doing a fairly decent job in this matchup, definitely having a larger lead independently than they did last time, because FakeGod had caught up by this point in terms of CS, whereas now still down a wave, and this is before Mira spends any time up in the top side. Tomio spotted.
Tomio spotted, trying to start up the Rift Herald. That's why Mir's here as well. He wanted to make a play top lane, so that way they can turn for the Rift Herald. They've got so much damage on FakeGod. Holding on to the flash. That's going to be the Heartbreaker missing. But they can dive this one. Getting the kill, but Bradley took a little bit too much damage and trying to body block the best he can. Tomio wasn't able to get the Vault Breaker on top of him because Mir did a great job of positioning.
Yeah, wow. I'm honestly really impressed by Tomio for not going for the 1-for-1 there, right? He does have access to the ultimate, chose not to put it onto Bradley in what was effectively a guaranteed kill, instead going to be backing away. And that's a lot more discipline from Tomio than we've seen from him in previous seasons. And so, I mean, Team Liquid, they find another small lead for themselves as we crest the 9-minute mark, up about 2,000 gold already. And they, again, have a very strong scaling team, whereas Cloud9, while they do have some scaling elements in the Silence, are really be focused around the 1 to 2 item mark.
That's usually when you see a lot of power, especially for Lucian. Though Lucian, not quite as bad as he used to be, can still be pretty powerful as you get later into the game with a little bit more crit.
Diplex finds APA.
Does find APA, the Scatter of the Weak was not enough, and Tidal Wave wasn't even needed. Bubble dodged away. They've got to chase Diplex, get the trade back. Bradley over the wall, looking to get the stun the best he can.
He's blind, he's fine.
The bot lane here, Zeyzal has shown up to make sure that there isn't going to be that fight. FakeGod there as well. The cease and desist onto Bradley. Bradley should be able to get over the wall. It's fairly tanky at this point, but that's a great play. Diplex getting the solo kill onto APA.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I used to say about Diplex was that it looked as though his solo kills, he took himself by surprise, but this time Cloud9 just absolutely go for it. AP has been caught in those exact ramps so many times in rotations, and Cloud9 knows how to punish it. They also pick up the Rift Herald for themselves, so that's a little bit more gold going over to Cloud9. It really puts a stop to some of the plans that Team Liquid had on this game.
Yeah, and the fact that you're getting Diplex, getting the solo kill there, this is the moment of power usually for Silas is once he hits the level 9, especially against something like Syndra, he's not as threatened about the kill threat that Syndra normally provides. He's just like, okay, I can jump on top of you so easily. All I have to dodge away is one scatter the weak, and even if you use that, I have so many more tools to constantly reset.
So, we'll see what else Silas can do, what else Diplex can do in this game. Again, I have to say that it definitely felt, I was a bit surprised to see that M&S did go up as early as they did because of how effectively Diplex was playing in the LCS, how effectively they were playing in the ERLs. At the same time, I mean, this is a spot where APA was getting the better of him almost all of last game until the very last moment. And now APA suddenly put in a bit of a rut, still has a lot of scaling to benefit them throughout the rest of the game. But we haven't seen the same kind of support from his team. Mir and Gimdown have not been looking mid lane in order to do anything like they spent a couple of times moving here in game 1.
It's been far more about how to play around the bot lane, to get Arrow in this position. APA, while he did do a good job in the lane phase and baiting Diplex for the most part, we're getting to that point where lane phase is meaning less and less. Sure, the plates are still up, but Diplex is not really going to care as much. All he has to do is steal away a critical ult. Say if he sees that Kim Down rotates into mid lane, steal away that depth charge, he's got a hell of a lot of kill threat.
Yeah. Team Liquid Challengers looking to try and get something. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't go for any dives in the bottom half of the map. It has been something where Mir has been very vocal about trying to make a lot of these plays in the past. And also, I kind of am a little bit surprised here, Alex, that the top lane, it feels like two of the players who have had a lot of stories built up about them have been relatively quiet so far this series, right? Bradley was the only two-time returning champ coming back into this split because everybody else either moved up to LCS or Armeo is currently coaching for Cloud9.
Can you really really do that much when you're put on Sejuani and Cho'Gath?
I mean, we've seen some really big Cho'Gaths.
We have, but usually that's a little bit later down the line or into Silent. So here in this game, up against Sejuani, it's a much more passive top lane. It's all about how they play around this mid to bot lane. So Fake God, Bradley, I'd love to talk about them because they do have such fascinating stories each. But at the moment, it's going to be some time before they become important. As Kim Down was able to Spider-Man his way out, and sees assist huge onto him, the flash as well. That's a lot onto Tomio. Tomio went way too far, and he dies for it.
Okay, a kill comes through. They catch one more.
Flashing away, nice dodge, but they continue to chase with the Spectral Mott. And Plex will survive, but it's going to be the control over to Team Liquid, Honda Challengers again, taking more away from Tomio in his jungle.
Yeah, both teams looked really surprised that a fight just broke out there, but Cloud9, we've seen Lost do this before. A little bit of gold going over with the first strike, but it is going to be another spot here where Cloud9, I mean, this is one of the reasons why people have been saying that Cloud9, if you're going to beat them, you have to beat them through the jungle. And why I was also praising Tomio for not using the ultimate earlier up in the top lane is because oftentimes Cloud9 finds themselves in rough situations, and Tomio now currently 0-2-0, significantly behind Mir in this game, and Mir has been one of these players that we've praised as potentially the best jungler in the entire league.
Mir's really showing that in this game. He's been constantly putting pressure onto Tomio, knowing that he has those winning lanes earlier on where even if we don't expect a Jinx Nautilus lane to get level 2 experience lead over Illusionami, they did so, and so that gave so much ample opportunity for Mir to exert that pressure onto Tomio and constantly put him on the back foot.
If you can continue to keep Tomio on the back foot, you can potentially play a 5v4. As now Team Liquid, they're trying to create a little bit more space before this upcoming dragon. It is one apiece for both sides, and a Mountain Dragon will do a lot of good for Team Liquid. And we see that Bradley once again going for the defensive lock of the Iron Solar in order to help out the rest of his team stay alive. See what else they can actually do as we are starting to position a lot more members down here towards the bottom. And Arrow has been known for getting caught in the past, has no lantern to fall back on.
Bradley really playing this series for the team. Not about his own solo lanes, not about getting these solo kills that we saw last year or even at the beginning of the split. It's purely about how he can bolster both Mir and Arrow with this one, since both of them with Kraken Slayer and Roa built for Fake God as well. They don't really have that solid, sturdy front line that you normally would have if you go straight tank Cho'Gath.
Bard. Yeah, it is definitely a very steady top lane, and we'll see what else they can perform during the rest of the game. You're also seeing Fake God once again going for the Frozen Heart, but that does make them a little bit more vulnerable to the damage coming out from APA on the Zinger. But Cloud9, as we look at this, are in total control of this upcoming fight around this upcoming objective. And Team Liquid gonna force them to respond. We saw this trade happen earlier in the day. You just push up in the mid lane and say, hey, what are you going to do about this turret?
Fake God on the other side.
Engage.
Oh, nice. Use the stopwatch from APA. He's got flash, but the rupture connects. He had no time to escape. They get the kill on him. The flash away from Mir as they get the glacial print in the backline. Arrow popping off, getting the damage. You're not taking it up yet, Fake God. So Arrow silences you.
Yeah, Arrow comes through, a couple of big kills, completely untouched. You got one carry, but you got to deal with the other one too. Team Liquid, now they move themselves right on over to this dragon. They will pick this up for themselves, and that is a huge boon because of how quickly Cloud9 will need to play a lot of these fights later on. They need to blow up individual members, and Cloud9, it's going to be so much harder to do that through the Mountain Dragons. But good stopwatch coming out from APA. Unfortunately, after that, missing out on the flash does get them crowd control to death.
He didn't have time.
At the same time, I mean, look at this coming in from Bradley on the flank, catches out the front line. Diplex going a little bit too far forward, and once the resets come through, the rest of Cloud9, nope. Sorry, Fake God, that's all you.
Yeah, there's going to be a fight around this Rift Herald. Compers connect on Atomia. So low, waiting for the eye, the smite as well. Going onto it, it's going to be taken. And now the re-engage on Amir. He is low,
Arrow, no mana.
trying to get away. But you can see that he's kiting it back, still surviving. And this entire time, Arrow's getting hit 3 damage. They get the devour they need to. This is the turnaround, the flash from Arrow. Dodging away from Rupture. But they found the play. Cloud9 bounce back.
And just as we were looking at Team Liquid looking to take control of the game, Cloud9 get 4 kills for nothing. It's only the Rift Herald going over to Team Liquid. We've seen this time and time again. Jinx is trying to take fights while they have no mana left in the tank. No rockets coming through. Team Liquid get blasted because the person who carried the last fight could not do any damage.
Yeah, looking at this one as well, it's a good call from Cloud9. How they heal back from the fight. They get on Mir, force him out initially.
Yeah, and that's one of the big resets gone, and as we already were looking at this, I mean, Mir's half your damage, Arrow's the other half. APA gets here at the very end, but can't really do a whole lot to Fake God, who just runs in and noms. And Arrow, even though he's hitting this whole time, he doesn't have the 2-item spike coming through. He doesn't have the rockets there either, and so Cloud9 knows there's no way that anybody on Cloud9 is going to die.
They felt very safe in that fight. They understood their limits and how they could kite back. Right there, though,
okay,
Jason takes a lot of damage, but him down way too far forward without a seam or damage.
And unfortunately, that has been one of the trends we have seen, is Tomio looking for another.
For the re-engage, hitting a nice dash away with the Heartbreaker out of Mir. That's another big cooldown burned by Team Liquid.
So we'll see what else they can actually do, but there's not a whole lot left. The big thing we'll be looking at is summoners coming up around the next dragon, and the only person who might not have their flash available is going to be Fake God, and it's going to be borderline. You can definitely stall out a little bit in order to make sure that is available, but the strong members on both teams, Lost is going to be playing a much bigger part in Game 2 than they did in Game 1. One of the most aggressive players we have had in the entire league, and a player that Zeyzal has loved playing alongside, now has 3 kills. This is a much scarier version of the Lucian Nami than we saw previously.
Basil talks about Lost and how aggressive he is as an ADC and how he values that, and where it's so hard to teach ADCs to be that aggressive. But Lost, this is one of his biggest powers that he's always had as a player. When you look at when he was on a good team back in the LCS, it was always about how far he played forward, how aggressive he knew he could be. Right here, he's waiting, biding his time because he knows he's got the rest of the team to collapse in this fight as AP had to flash away back towards his turret. Fake God is going to be the one getting a lot of attention with another crash from Shelly, but him down too low to re-engage this fight. Team Liquid have to continue to peel back and are getting chased away by Cloud9.
Everybody's going to be backing away while health bars are still there. AP with no flash, and Cloud9, are they going to ask about the Baron? It doesn't look like they are going to.
So they could start this up, and they have Lost, who does a lot of damage quickly. Dude, he's already got 2 items built up. That's going to be the blue trinket already burned, and now they can start hitting this one.
They're pulling. Him down, still just now coming out of base. Team Liquid are scattered. Their front line is not with their back line. Bradley needs to rejoin. Watch Arrow's mana in this. He doesn't have the second item yet. It's entirely focused on how many rockets he can put out.
But it is also scary. They go look for their engage. They found Arrow on the other side. Tomio has him locked down forever. Then Solon down charge. Make sure that Arrow cannot move. And Diplex, he silences him. Re-engage and kill for Fake God. And Team Liquid Honda Challengers cannot escape the wrath. That is Diplex.
Diplex comes through, another huge flank. You thought the first game might have been a fluke, but no, it happens again. He comes in, absolutely destroys Team Liquid by coming in from a side angle. And Team Liquid, that's the second time in a row they have been blasted in these fights. They can try and play for this Mountain Dragon win condition, but it is such a tough position. Cloud9, they're going to be able to pick this up and get back out on the field in time to try and contest this Dragon.
I was looking at the death timer for Arrow and trying to see if he could get up in time to throw out the rocket, but it wasn't in time. Let's take a look at this play initially, because it's a great target selection from Tomio, and this time he has the rest of the team to back him up.
Yeah, and the big thing is Diplex catches 4 people with that ultimate as well, effectively meaning AP is the only one who can put out DPS. But it's not as though Syndra's a DPS character. It allows Diplex to get on top. The one person that needed to not die in Arrow is the first person to go down, and that's all the damage left on Team Liquid. We'll see. I mean, they have a very similar reset composition, but if you're not picking your targets at the very beginning, if you're not setting up the fights in your favor, these reset compositions don't get to do their job.
Also hard when everything in the kitchen sink is thrown at your ADC, so that Arrow couldn't even get damage out in the fight if he wanted to. There's no peel to save him. He was the target and he died so quickly.
Yeah, and once again, it feels as though some of these big imports coming in for Cloud9. I mean, Lost was the original OS player to come over. We have the new German star, Diplex, coming through to try and take control. Both of them having big moments throughout these fights, just pepper in all his damage. And now Bradley, he's rejoined, but he's getting marked here by Fake God. It's so hard to hit anybody with a Glacial Prison as long as this Cho'Gath is standing in front. Now it looks like Cloud9 going to be backing away. They're pinging towards the Dragon. Diplex already far enough back. He's not worried about a collapse.
They spotted out Mirror as well in the top half of the map, so this should be really easy for Cloud9 to send down. Just Tomio if they want to. They could bring down Lost as well, but really it's just send one person, have every single lane work on getting the wave state to crash at the same time.
Yeah, and they're doing a good job at that, right? Coming down, that's going to be another structure getting picked up by Cloud9. And they're not getting the most they potentially could with this Baron buff, but by splitting up the map, they are still denying a lot of gold over from Team Liquid. They're going to be grabbing this Dragon as well. And Cloud9, I mean, this is a team where if you give them leads, it is so hard to come back from. And the player that I'm kind of looking at, right, is one of our front runners for most valuable prospect in Mirror. And another one, I was talking to one of APA's former coaches, Jensen Go, who was working with him back at his time on Maryville. He's also saying this is a player who could be in the running for most valuable prospect, but right now, they're just so weak.
Yeah, especially look at Kim down. He is so squishy. A full calling on top of him. He immediately dies, falls, no peel back for Arrow, and wow, one crit on an Arrow takes him down below 50.
That's going to be an entire turret completely gone. Team Liquid, they get that top lane outer, but they're losing a bot lane inhibitor turret. And Bradley, I don't know if you can be here, my bud.
No, he's trying to kite back. He even uses the stun that he needs to onto Lost, but there's no one to peel back for Mirror, as Mirror took a lot of the brunt of the damage as well. With 5 members crashing the wave mid lane. He forced back Team Liquid Honda Challengers again, back into their base, and they will be the ones to clean up all the jungle away from Mirror.
And suddenly, that's a fantastic usage of the Baron. Just getting a couple of these turrets outside the base is kind of like it's good goal, but taking that bottom lane inhibitor turret gives Cloud9 easy opportunities to attack again, even without the Baron. Now, Team Liquid are hunting for any stragglers. The flash.
Fake God, they get the flash out of him at least, but it is Fake God that you're getting the flash out of, not Lost. The member you really need to make sure you're putting your attention onto. 550 gold bounty on his head. He's got 3 items on Lucian compared to only 2 for Arrow.
That's a big difference, right? The way that Lost has been able to get all this gold to himself this game as compared to first game is giving Cloud9 a lot more opportunities to play. But now that we're starting to look towards the end of the series, Alex, it looks like Cloud9 are very heavily favored to take this one as we get another bounty coming through. Even League of Legends, even James Riot himself says that it's time to start giving Team Liquid a couple bonuses. We have to look at who they're going to be playing, because the winner of this will play up against the winner of Fear versus Golden Guardians, which themselves, I mean, we're starting to get towards the top 8 in the entire tournament, whereas the loser, it doesn't exactly mean that they have an easy route. I'm pretty sure the loser of this will likely have to play against one of our dark horses in FlyFam or CLG Challengers.
Now, both of them be difficult with how FlyFam have been looking as of late, but CLG Challengers in the big standout, getting upset yesterday by TSM Challengers. That's the team you want to avoid at all costs if you are in the lower brackets now. Lost, getting more damage on to Kim down again. Every time that's off cooldown, you're going to look to see if you can whittle down that target, the one member that provides true engage.
The only person who can really try and find some of these initial plays to go for. Bradley has been relatively quiet here on the Sejuani all game long. Still only has one and parts of a second item completed. Look at that.
He lost, was able to use Cleanse. That's a big cooldown burn. One step of the way there for Team Liquid. The next part is the hardest, because now all of Cloud9 have grouped around mid lane. The pull on a fake out, the pull on a Kim down. He's so squishy, gets devoured by the beast, as Tomio is on top of Arrow. No escape, though. He has to flash himself. Zap connects. You got an excited Jinx. Could be the turnaround time, but you got to be careful because Simplex is there. That's going to be the rocket.
Oh, another one.
On to Joe Gap, and Team Liquid are still in this.
They'll hold their base this time, but Team Liquid, I mean, it's still a dangerous spot. Now look at what Lost is trying to do, trying to find somebody coming around who's going to be farming the wolves.
Farming the wolves.
Nobody's going to go.
Definitely looking for something. See, right there, he was hunting, he was waiting in the shadows.
The
But
Baron
now,
buff.
3 members down, one of them being the jungle. Team Liquid, you risk it on this Baron, you still got to be careful of Lost and Zazel.
Yeah, you got to risk it for the biscuit here, and the teleport coming through from Bradley. That should be a Baron getting picked up here for Team Liquid. The fact that they already got the 2 dragons earlier actually puts a big stop to any potential plays coming through from Cloud9. The gold lead is much tighter at this point. And we're going to take another look at this, right? It looks pretty bad at the beginning, but both Tomio and Diplex go so deep for the rest of this fight. Yes, they get some damage onto Arrow, but because they pick different targets, Diplex goes for Mirror and Tomio goes for Arrow, there's not enough damage to actually kill either of them on their own. And Fake God's been taking the turret the entire time, has to bail, gets picked off by the rocket. That's a ton of money getting picked up by the carriers of Team Liquid.
Also, it's kind of tragic because Diplex could have absorbed the rocket. He probably would have died, but it means Fake God would live. Instead, he falls and Fake God fall.
Yeah, one of those small moments that you always have to be looking for, but it's so tough to do that in the moment. Now Cloud9, even without the Baron buff, they have a little bit more space in order to try and pick up this Dragon first. Team Liquid won't be able to contest that, but instead, Team Liquid not looking to contest. They're going to be going towards the top side of the map. This Arrow, I mean, good intent, but
Early.
yeah, looking for a potential play onto the top side, and Team Liquid is like, no, you can have that Dragon. We are going to go pick up all of your jungle camps instead.
Big moments for Team Liquid. Just the itemization getting closer. We were talking about how it's the 3-2 lead for Lost in items. Well, now it's only a half an item, as Arrow is able to buy the Lord Dominic's Regard after that play. Crucial for this marksman, because this game, the 3 item spikes that you were talking about before, gosh, are now there for Team Liquid. All they have to do is make sure they defend this Jinx at all costs.
It's so hard, right? I feel as though Cloud9, they split their fire in the last fight, and that's one of the things that you always have to look for when you have only 2 dive buddies in Diplex and Tomio. If they don't hit the same target, they oftentimes don't kill their target, and that is a huge difference. 2 characters at 20% HP are so much more effective than 1 character at 100%. And now Cloud9, they're trying to take control of all of this vision. Team Liquid still feel in a rough spot. Oh my god, here!
That damage from Lost. They did get the Glacial Prison connect. Scatter of the Weak did not, though. No follow-up. Instead, gonna have to send members back to recall, reset for Team Liquid onto Challengers, which gives even more time to Cloud9 to continue to control this jungle.
Yeah. You also got to see a little bit of what we were talking about before, Alex, whereas Lost will just go forward and do a lot of damage. And even though it's cost him his cleanse a couple of times, he's never under true risk, and Cloud9 are far enough, or at least feel far enough ahead based on the way that they've been playing, in order to just wait for when the next cleanse comes up. There's no objectives for either side to play for until both the Baron and the Dragon spawn at the same time. And with 2 Mountain Dragons already picked up, Cloud9 are crazy tanky.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have a Cho'Gath on your team, even if he has the Roa. Now has
What
gotten.
skin is that?
That one's that new one, the Broken Covenant.
I believe you. I
don't know if
what
it's
it looks
actually
like.
the name of it, but it's the new skin. It's
Gotcha.
it's the really cool one that makes him look like one of those Dark Soul bosses.
Fair enough. Definitely to me looked like a barnacle on his back, but you know, it
It's like
is
a
what it
cage.
is. Yeah. Cloud9, on the other hand, are now pushing up on the bottom side of the map. Remember, by taking that bottom lane inhibitor, it does give whoever is split pushing way more opportunities to be a thorn in the side of Team Liquid because their waves don't naturally reset. It's forcing Bradley to back away on the other side, and we'll see if Cloud9 can go for another fight. Even though they don't have the same kind of gold lead, they still feel as though they're ahead, right? The way that they've been playing, the way that both teams have been moving around, it definitely feels as though Cloud9 think they're further ahead, and Team Liquid also believe them.
This is where, I had talked about Lucian and how he is a lane bully in some regards, but he is still powerful in the late game with how he is at currently, because he goes more for the crit build. Of course, his low range is what makes him susceptible. But look at how much damage he did to Mir previously, as Mir was looking for the stun. He took him half health just with one combo and could have killed him with the calling had it not been for his defense buddy in Bradley.
Yeah. This is where we wait for our objectives to actually be spawning up, and so I think kind of looking at this, if Team Liquid is able to take this game and push us to a Game 3, that's a big confidence boost for this team, right? They were the 2-time defending Proving Grounds champions, but as you were calling out, and as Spawn has said earlier in the year, getting the championships last time around with the roster that he had built for himself, not the most difficult of achievements to have, whereas this time with some much younger players, APA coming out of collegiate and a lot of time in the amateur scene, him down a relatively fresh collegiate player, definitely a much more difficult opportunity to try and take that championship. And even with their veterans, see if they can take down so much experience on the side of Cloud9.
Arrow is also incredibly used to this kind of high pressure scenario. Not only from his experience here in the Academy circuit last year when he was in the Proving Grounds on Immortals Academy and still were able to make deep runs on a team that everyone said shouldn't be going nearly as far as they always did. But then all the way back to when he was in the LCK, in the LCS. This guy understands what it is to have all the weight put onto his shoulders. And this game is really going to be the make or break for him. He has to be the one to carry this game to success.
Yeah, so for now, I really want to watch Diplex, the young German star coming through, continue to push over on the side lane, giving Team Liquid a little bit more control around the Dragon. But Cloud9 can back away towards the Baron, and Diplex is threatening this inhibitor turret every single time unless Bradley comes to match him.
And Bradley's going to be there calling,
Lost?
absorbed by
He's just
AJ.
fine.
Wow.
He's just fine!
Melted the health bars on the other member, and it's going to be a trade. Dragon for Baron, Cloud9. They're going to be far out and ahead of this one. They're going to love this play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fee stack for Fake God, but more importantly, like Diplex on the other side of the map is also looking for opportunities to continue pressuring. He gets the inhibitor turret out from underneath Bradley. Ooh, this is a little bit greedy for Tomio, but he knows that people were on the other side of the map and does see there are ways to come over. So yeah, very confident. Picks up that little bit of extra gold. I think that gets him a full Guardian Angel would be my guess.
Watch the inventories. See.
Oh, it didn't change.
Nope, didn't change. Probably not enough, and didn't want to sell some of the control wards or the elixir of iron they have in their inventory.
Yeah.
Just to give that much more capabilities for engage and give these angles for Diplex to follow him.
Yeah. Interesting choice coming through there, but the extra tankiness that has been picked up by Team Liquid focuses us a little bit more on the actual execution here. As
Jeez,
wow.
That damage onto Arrow. This is the thing with Lost. He's level 17.
wow.
In fact, I'd like to look at the items again because I think he might be full build.
I mean, either way, I mean, it's so scary to watch how much damage Lost has actually been doing with now two
he's full
inhibitors
build.
completely exposed. Full build, has the Guardian Angel, has both summoners available, and like this ultimate comes up about every 2 waves, every 3 waves.
Yeah. Pretty much use it on cooldown. Anytime you see anyone step up, just be like, all right, I'm going to use this. I got to chunk you out.
Yeah.
Nobody can step up to me. I was talking about how Arrow has got to be the one for Team Liquid that they put all the eggs in the basket of. They have to rely on him, but C9, they've already done so for Lost. He's full build. This player who has had a stint in the LCS, as of late, hadn't had the best performances. But here, in the Challengers League, has been the best performing bot lane with Zeyzal that we have of every single team. And this game, he's really proving why.
Yeah, he's being so aggressive, and that is all 3 inhibitors exposed, and Cloud9 pushing waves all at the same time. What do Team Liquid do? They have to pick an angle.
Gotta find somebody. And it's hard to go onto Lost because how slippery he is.
That's 2 inhibitors gone.
Damage they do. And that's gonna be the 3rd one taken without a fight. The calling
Mir.
eaten by Mir. Look how low they constantly take these players of Team Liquid. They can't answer anything because the moment they try to, Lost chunks them down to nearly death.
But there's no culling left available. Like Team Liquid, they need to find something. Kim Don Bradley, you need to pick someone. There's going to be double super minis in every single lane.
Gotta go soon because they're just waiting for these minions bot lane. There's gonna be the cannon that they needed. They got Diplex with the Scout of the Week, but nobody could follow up on that. Instead, they're waiting, and now they're taking too much damage. Lost has the depth charge on top of him, but nobody can get on top of him. Nobody can follow it up, so Lost went back in, and he's got the damage. He's focusing on Bradley. Rupture off to Sejuani, as the damage forces Arrow to go golden with the Rupture as well.
Got him.
There's the carry, gone! Cloud9 finds the fight they need to, and from here, it is just cleaning up house. They won this game.
Mir.
They won this series, unless Mir.
Wait
a minute. I might have spoken too soon, because Mir could be a hero. They killed Lost. Oh my God, Mir! No way! The game will continue. And even though Diplex tries to fight back against Mir, Mir barely survives, and he gets shut down.
Oh my God, there's still minions pounding away on the Nexus, but they will hold again. Team Liquid twice pushed to the brink of defeat. This Mir has to stop push before dying to a super minion. But they hold again, Alex. They will not go quietly into that good night. And we have one more moment to take a look at the replay. Arrow gets caught again. All of these engage tools from Team Liquid not doing anything, but Cloud9, they turn it around, and here it comes. They get so much damage onto Arrow, forcing him to stopwatch, and that's enough of an engage for them to blow him up immediately after that. Afterwards, I thought this game was surely over. Diplex has found his way onto APA, but the damage coming through from Mir finds the first reset here onto Fake God and Tomio, and from there, I mean, just getting all that HP right on back. Throws out a couple of abilities, resets on a couple more players, gets some GAs. And Team Liquid, they will hold another major fight, but they can't even go out for the Mountain Soul because they have 3 inhibitors down.
It's tragic. They put up such a great defense, and they can't leave their base because Fake God has TP. Diplex about to have his up as well. They venture outside with the double super minions from every single lane and nothing defending their Nexus. That game is surely over. This is a forfeit of Dragon Soul. The Cloud9 Challengers, more in the inventory for Cloud9 to win this game and win this series. Team Liquid, if you can mount a defense like that last one before, could they do it twice, Josh? Could they do it twice?
The horror is Cloud9 don't even need to fight them at this point, right? The fact that Team Liquid are playing so slowly before is not going to serve them well again because Cloud9 can just walk up and hit the Nexus. Team Liquid, they need to pick an angle, they need to pick it fast.
They have to find Lost. If anything, because this guy can easily 2-tap that turn. With Mir taking low again, the calling use, the re-engage.
Oh,
Arrow flashing away, but Diplex does not want this game to go any further. He's hitting the Nexus, and that's the game and series for Cloud9.
And Cloud9, it ends up being a closer series than I think a lot of people were expecting, but Cloud9 showcased once again their resiliency, why they're the #1 team going into the playoffs this time around, and congratulations to Cloud9 on that very fast, or not fast, but very decisive 2-0 to come out over Team Liquid and advancing in the winner's bracket.
Well fought to Team Liquid, though. It's not like these games were an easy pushover. They fought as best they could at every moment, even to the bitter end. But you cannot stop the #1 seed, the #1 team here in the Challengers League of Cloud9. We're going to toss to a break, getting ready for an interview. We'll have Kangas on the line, so make sure you stay tuned.
Hello and welcome everybody for our post-series interview. I have Tomio, jungler for Cloud9 Challengers after a 2-0 sweep over Team Liquid. Crazy end to that series. It was a push into the base. Somehow you didn't close out, and I want to start there. How come you couldn't close out on the first push of the base, Tommy? I need you to defend yourself here.
The first push was when we had like Baron and we had triple inhibs, and we were like, they had to come into us, and then after we killed Jinx, I think we all lost our minds, and then we were like, well, the game's finished here, but they got a reset on me and started like going to town with it, and we're like, oh my god, we actually didn't end. I mean, luckily we got both Nexus towers for the next push.
True. Which kept them in the base, so they couldn't really leave to go contest the Dragon Soul afterwards. What were the comms like in that moment, though? Was it really just like you got too cocky because Jinx is gone, so everyone's just like celebrating too early? Or?
We were just talking about like what we should do next.
Okay.
Like, after we get the soul, we'll just go for the end because they have open Nexus, and it's like 1 HP.
Sure.
We're like, Syndra no flash, or somebody had no flash. I think Jinx died without using it. And then we just 3-laned it, and we just ended. Just walked at it.
But in the moment, when you picked off arrow underneath the turrets, before you took down the Nexus turrets, what was going on there in the comms? Because it was fun. We got to hear Team Liquid, actually, some of their comms at the end of one of their games. They won a fight, and then APA was the player who said, all right, calm down, everybody. We still need to focus on how we close out the game. I'm just curious what that sounds like in a Cloud9 Challengers voice comms. Are you willing to share on Twitter, maybe?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we just thought we finished the game there after we killed Jinx. And the Syndra was kind of hard to kill. She had
Fair enough. But you nailed on the head that Mir was the one that was still alive and was able to pop off, get the resets, and hold off there. And I want to get your opinion of Mir, because we talked about the matchup between the two of you going into the series. We hyped it up a little bit. And I personally think it lived up to the hype. I want to get your thoughts of how the jungle matchup went for you.
The jungle matchup? I mean, he did play LCS, right? Green jungler, so.
Was at Worlds last year too? So
a champ like Vega, I think sure he can be very aggressive. For example, he invaded us, or invaded me, game 2. And or like look for level 3 ganks. They had like Sejuani, Nautilus, and Syndra, so as Vega it should feel really easy to like go do something early. And instead of just AFK farm. I think Vega's really strong for gank. And it would fit his playstyle for sure.
It makes sense. He's one of the most decorated junglers that we have in the league. Did that add any pressure for you? I mean, you're still very early in your career going into semi-pro League of Legends, and you're going up against a player that you look at his Leaguepedia page. Like, that's a lot of experience that he's coming in with. Did that change any of your prep going into today?
No. I just slept, just play some League of Legends tomorrow or today, and just play my own game and didn't really think too much about it.
Okay.
Just a fight. I got by for 2 games and I was like, yeah, I don't care if I die. I'm just gonna ult in and hopefully win the game.
You have a very clear goal and objective from that point forward. I want to talk about what this win means for you as a player now, because I'm not sure if you've been keeping track, but I found it interesting that now that you've won, you've guaranteed top 6 in this bracket. Even if you bomb out the next 2 series, this would be the highest finish that you've had individually as a player, because back in Proving Grounds past, you were 9th through 12th, 13th through 16th, and then 9th through 12th again. So personal highest, congrats first of all.
Wait, I mean, on my first, when I played the first PG, it was on EDP. It was like I was in the exact same spot.
Oh, really?
But, yeah, so technically it's not my highest. It's like I'm matching it, kind of.
Okay, all right. So you still need to win one more then. One more. All right. Well, I want to get your thoughts on the run so far and how far you think you can continue to go on this team, and also who you think the biggest competition will be on the way there.
I think we're looking forward to win the whole thing, the upper bracket, and looking to improve, and because obviously the game was that clean. with our lead and get better on the way there. I think biggest competitions, I'm not sure. Probably maybe Dixie or 100 TC. 100. They're popping off the other day I was watching. And
What are your thoughts on CLGC? Do they still have a chance? They got knocked down early.
I think they're still a strong team. But I think anybody has a chance because you never know, you know? Can't really predict the future. Maybe something happens or somebody picks something different or change of mindsets. Who knows?
Obviously, though, I think being on the team that's favorited to get into that finals adds a little bit of pressure. So good luck on your way there. I want to close off here on a fun note because Diplex is a newer addition to the team, newer teammate, and we had a fun info tidbit from him that we did during our halftime segment. Favorite musical artist is Metro Boomin. First of all, do you have any idea who Metro Boomin is? Have you ever heard of this artist?
I heard of him.
You have. How would you rate Metro Boomin?
I think it's 10 out of 10. His beats and all his collabs and
so I guess all the boomers on the broadcast need to go check out this artist. I was going to ask, what other musical artist would you recommend Diplex and everybody in Twitch chat go check out? This is your opportunity. Anybody that you want to shill?
You listen to Drake. That's my boy from hometown.
Okay.
His hits go hard even when you're feeling low and feeling good. Yeah, that's the only one that right now I have on my mind.
All right, well, there you heard it. Thank you so much, Shomio, for coming on. Best of luck continuing on in the bracket, and we'll see if you can make it into that finals.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
All right, we're going to send it back to a break now while we get ready for our second series of the day. We have Fear versus Golden Guardians right after this.